And again, thank you all. And this afternoon, we have our illustrious Amy Lingo, who is our Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. We want to thank her for her amazing leadership and also the opportunity that it affords for the University of Louisville to connect with Jefferson County Public Schools and the community. We have a number of community members that's here from the League of Women Voters, for the NAACP, from a number of different organizations that have come to hear about the Louisville Urban League, to be able to come and hear about what's happening at DuBois Academy. And again, I want to thank everyone, the panel, for being here, but we're going to allow our dean to bring greetings.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this wintry, icy day. I know that although Jefferson County is doing remote learning, we appreciate the students and the faculty and staff for joining us from the W.E.B DuBois Academy. We are so excited to hear about the Academy. We are excited to hear about opportunities that we may have as a university and as a college to engage with the school. And we are just so grateful for the time that you all have taken to be with us. And I just want to thank Dr. Geneva Stark, who is directing the Nystrand Center. She has done an amazing job of really elevating and connecting our college specifically and the university to the community and to school and district partners in and around Jefferson County, but really across the state of Kentucky. So I am so grateful to work alongside her every day. So Dr. Stark, if you want to introduce our panelists, that would be great.
I would do that. And again, thank you for your leadership and the opportunity to be able to elevate the Nystrand Center of Excellence in Education. And today we have W.E.B DuBois Academy. And under the leadership of Mr. Robert Gunn, we have Mr. Gerard Garrett as assistant principal. We have Jahi Peake as another assistant principal. We have Kelvin Brooks as a counselor. And we have two students, two dynamic students, Jaden Mostiller and Dayton Johnson, is going to be with us today. And they're going to speak about DuBois Academy and what it means to be there, and also just all the great things that's happening there. And we want to exemplify that excellence that's happening, at DuBois Academy. So, Mr. Gunn, we're going to start with you as the leader, of DuBois Academy. Hey, why an all-boys school in Jefferson County Public Schools? Why is there a need for that here in Jefferson County, or maybe across the country in 2000 plus? Yes.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Dr. Stark, for having us from the W.E.B DuBois Academy here. It is a great day to be alive, and to any of my Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters who may be on the line, es un gran día para estar vivo. So we bring greetings from the DuBois Academy. So to answer the first question, well, first I always start with the mission of our school, which is to engage, to eliminate barriers, and to empower each young man that we serve to achieve excellence. So to answer your question, why an all-male school in Jefferson County? The better question might be, Dr. Stark, is why not? When you look at historically the trends, any data that you look at, from suspension rates to increased number of students in ECE, to a lack of students who look like myself or like many of our young men who are underrepresented in areas of advanced program, gifted and talented. You look at the prison to pipeline, the prison to school pipeline, and you just think about some of these things that historically have been, in my opinion, wrong for our young men. A lot of young men have, varied experience in schools, but I know what my experience was like. I know what my father's experience was like in school. So at the DuBois Academy, we wanted to create an atmosphere and an environment that would transcend education for our young men and make sure that all their needs were being met, because we are firm believers that if we meet the needs of our young men, we eliminate those barriers that they might face, then they are the next generation of leaders within our community. And that not only benefits them, it benefits everyone who's on this call and everyone that lives in our city and in our nation for that matter.
Wonderful. And what has been the most exciting thing for you to, I know it was a year in planning, that you took a year to make sure that everything was in place. I mean, what was that for you to, what kind of excitement did that bring to you to be able to lead this school?
Yeah, it was very exciting, and it was incredibly empowering. So I got a chance to travel to visit the Urban Prep School in Chicago, the Ron Brown School in DC. Also got a chance, to visit the Carter G. Woodson Academy in Lexington. And as I traveled to all those schools, there was one thing that was in common with the leaders and the students and the parents that I spoke to, and it was, education historically has not provided what our young men need. So as opposed to, building the DuBois Academy and starting from, what we wanted our students to test like, we asked a simple question. And that question was, what do we want our young men to be like? We asked that of students, we asked that of parents, we asked that of our community. And ironically enough, Dr. Stark, as we traveled the country and as I talked to and engaged with families, both in our community and outside of our community, folks wanted the same thing. They wanted their sons to be leaders. They wanted their sons to be learners. They wanted their sons to find a sense of self. They wanted their sons to excel, in the school setting. So we set forth the pathway of the DuBois Academy, and we wanted to make sure we had authentic opportunities for our young men to shine. If you ask anyone on our staff or any of our students, they don't come to school to be great test takers. They come to school to be great men. And we figured that if we do the right things at our school with what we call our pride values, our curriculum, then we will make sure that our young men are excellent test takers, but that will be a byproduct of them seeing themselves as scholars, seeing themselves as the leaders that we are building them up to be.
Mhm. Hey, thank you, Mr. Gunn. And as you indicated that, hey, I can ask anyone on your staff, and that goes into Mr. Garrett, and then you, Mr. Peake, tell me as an AP, an assistant principal at DuBois Academy, what do you bring to the table and what excites you about being at DuBois Academy every day?
What excites me about being at DuBois is the focus is on from a holistic standpoint. Too many times historically, we've been focused on a Eurocentric curriculum. And at DuBois, we have an Afrocentric curriculum as well as a multicultural curriculum. And that allows our students to see the whole view. Oftentimes, you look at a curriculum and it doesn't reflect your experiences or what you're trying to accomplish. So at DuBois Academy, we try to explore all those different avenues while allowing students to be exposed to the whole story, and they can determine their truths based off that holistic story.
Hey, thank you very much. And Mr. Peake.
So my journey at DuBois is a little different because in our opening year, I was actually the art teacher. And so in our second year, I ascended to be assistant principal. So I got to see kind of both sides of the coin when it comes to a staff perspective, right? I got to see what teachers felt in the classrooms in our opening year, being able to teach our students, having smaller class size and having conversations carry over from different avenues themselves through the curriculum that we've set forward, and being a part of that curriculum directly as a teacher. And then to an administrative role, being an assistant principal, having my role change slightly, but still being able to connect with those students, still being able to be a guiding force in their lives. And I think just the part of our administrative staff you're seeing right now is a direct reflection of our students, and that's big because representation is huge when it comes to what our students need to see, because they can only be what they can see. So that's a part of my journey during DuBois Academy.
Hey, thank you very much. Mr. Brooks.
Yes, ma'am. Well, as a counselor at the DuBois Academy, one of the things that I've enjoyed about the Academy is it has given me the chance to move beyond just the structures that have been put in place for counselors. Of course, we address the academic, the social and emotional needs, as well as the career needs of our students, but we do it in a way that we know our population of students are going to digest it. We talk about trauma by using, songs by Tupac Shakur or Meek Mills in ways that we know our students are going to take it in. So I'm very proud of the Academy to allow us as counselors to trust in our professional ability to give our kids what they need in regards to mental health, but doing it in a manner that they are going to take that in. So it's allowed us to spread our wings as counselors. We really dream big, so I love it.
Hey, thank you very much. And I know she wasn't on the panel, but she's here. Ms. Paula Cappy. Yeah. Where are you, Miss Cappy? Okay, we'll come back to her. to our students. Jaden, why DuBois Academy? What motivated you? What was your desire to be there? What is the why in being there? And after Jaden, David, you speak to that as well.
I really just felt like I thought that the staff was there to help me and push me to limits that I never thought I could go to, like either the education or like other activity wise. And also I thought that the men there could like really help me as another father figure, and like the students, like they was really there like as another brother, and like just like little brothers, young older brothers, like stuff like that.
Okay, David Johnson.
Well, to be honest, I didn't know about the Boys Academy until we went to the showcase to see our amazing principal, Mr. Gunn. But I'm really glad my parents and we go to W.E.B DuBois because it's really a life-changing experience. There's no other school that would teach me about the Afrocentric curriculum like DuBois teaches me. I have a teacher in the advisory who tells us Black history facts every single day. And I think another school would do that, or probably even a college at that matter. I think they wouldn't even do that. But I'm just so glad that I just went to DuBois because it's so diverse and we have that connection like a brotherhood, and it's just amazing to be there and every single day.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gunn, you had to identify the staff, because, and again, with the mission and goal, then you have to be strategic in how do I obtain the right staff for DuBois Academy? What was your strategy in finding the right people to put in place?
Gotcha. First, Dr. Stark, Miss Kathy just sent me a text. She says she apologizes. She heard you. She is actually on the phone with her doctor. So she just sends apologies for not responding. So
Okay.
On to your question, Dr. Stark, I believe, and this at my core and at my ethos, I truly believe that educators are the most noble professionals on the face of the earth. And I say that simply because somewhere along the line, if we've decided to go into education, we've decided that we want to change the world, period, point blank. You ask any educator, why did you get into this? It certainly isn't for the paycheck. It's not for the extended summer months that have now not even turned into summer months, right? It's because I want to make a valuable difference in my community and for students, for whatever reason called us to it. So when it comes down to working at the DuBois Academy, I truly believe that if you embody that mindset, that you are not going to give up on a student, you're not going to turn your back on a student, you're not going to say things like you're done with a student, then we can work with you as long as you have the heart, the mind, the body, and the soul and the spirit to want to teach. I truly believe the teachers that we have at our school building, the administrators, we can work with skill deficits, but we don't want to necessarily work with mindset deficits because that's a choice. So throughout our interview process, we make sure that we ask questions that we feel will get to the heart of someone. Sure, we ask about classroom management. We ask about, how you might develop a lesson plan. But most importantly, we ask questions like, tell us about a time in your life where you had to show perseverance. I ask teachers flat out, what can I expect from you when things get hard? Because at our school, things will get difficult for you. Are you going to tuck tail and run? Or are you going to stand and you're going to represent for our students? We ask questions like, historically, what do you feel is the issue with how young men of color have been educated? And how will you help us right this historical wrong? And last but not least, we give every candidate that we interview the opportunity to tell us why they belong at the DuBois Academy. They know what we're about coming into the interview if they've done their homework, and if they haven't, we've already fleshed them out in question number 3. But people who make it to the end of the interview and that we're actually interested in, we give them the opportunity to tell us why they will be a great fit for our school. And quite honestly, Dr. Stark, if we're not moved by that individual and that response, they are not going to be welcome in our school. We just simply have too heavy of a lift and too important of a job to allow individuals that don't embody that mindset to enter our building.
Hey, thank you very much. Mr. Garrett, what is your role as the assistant principal? What duties and responsibilities that you have at DuBois Academy?
Yes, ma'am, Dr. Starr. So I have the fabulous responsibility just to help the illustrious Mr. Robert Gunn and the rest of our magnificent administrative staff with any task that needs to be complete. This is my first year at DuBois, and I'm transitioning virtually, but it's been very, like I said, impactful and special for me. I'm the seventh grade assistant principal, and I'm in charge of just basically I have the building responsibility. So I had to go through and, make sure that we was in compliance with the state regulation. And also my focus is on continual improvement of instructional leadership for our teachers, because I wholeheartedly believe that effective leadership leads to quality teachers, and quality teaching leads to the highest potential for our young lions and kings.
Mhm. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Peake. I had the opportunity to, you can share with me your duties and responsibilities to walk into DuBois Academy one morning, and it was just touched my heart, that where the students were assembled and you were leading that conversation. So talk to us about your role at DuBois Academy.
Yes, ma'am. So what you're referring to is our Brotherhood Time, and I really have never seen any school start their day quite like that. In a normal school setting, and I'm a JCPS graduate, Zachary Taylor, Barrett, and Louisville Middle Traditional High School. Never have I seen, a school use the ability to get students like amped up and excited, right? But we definitely do that at DuBois Academy. So when you walk into our school building, it won't be quiet. At the beginning of the day, you will hear kids screaming, you will hear kids yelling. We play a song called Lean on Me, Bill Withers, and we make sure that we give handshakes, high fives, and hugs to everybody. Now, of course, COVID-19, we had to cut back on those restrictions, but pre-COVID, we were able to do those things, and that's solely because we wanted to make sure if no one saw you this morning, if no one told you that they cared about you, if no one told you they loved you, if no one told you that you were important, that one of our staff or one of our students did. And it really caught on like wildfires to where we had, in our first year, 150 boys who had never met, honestly. We had a boy from every elementary school in the entire city who never met, got a chance to talk to their peers. And, as we expanded to 300 boys, it's same concept. We're promoting brotherhood because only we can really save us. And so when it comes down to it, that's what we do every morning. As far as my role, I'm the dean over culture and climate. So I make sure students are feeling safe, students are feeling welcome, teachers are feeling safe and appreciated. I'm also the 8th grade principal. So our first opening class of DuBois students, I am with them still. Along with that, because I have a visual arts background as an art teacher, I'm over the gifted and talented committee as an administrator, and also I teach the AP visual arts class of about 20 students on our Friday schedule usually. So couple different hats that I wear, but all for the name of DuBois and for the love of the students who we have.
Hey, thank you very much. Mr. Calvin Brooks, as the counselor, at DuBois Academy, talk to us about, hey, what is your role and how do you make it all happen at DuBois Academy? Because as a counselor, that's an enormous responsibility as well.
Yes, ma'am. And I will speak, specifically to the NTI, just the times that we're going through now at the moment. So one thing with the counseling department at DuBois, we understand that the needs haven't changed just because the way of delivery or the environment has changed. So we are continuing with providing services that address those needs of our students. A couple of ways we're doing that through NTI is 3 times a week we have a session, what is called Kicking It in the Kingdom, which is basically our core counseling sessions where we invite the entire brotherhood out. And each day, 3 days a week, we have a different subject. One focuses on academic well-being, social emotional well-being, and then that Friday is a career focus. And what makes that Friday so unique is that we have stakeholders throughout the community that have a variety of careers that come in and speak to our young men. We are very conscious, very strategic in choosing our guests because we want our students to learn from, folks throughout the city, regardless of their gender or their race. So during NTI, we are putting those things in place to make sure that we are providing those things for students. And also we have systems that allow the students to contact us if they need anything. We have weekly counselor check-in forms that are mandatory. We have individual check-in forms that they can send to us. We hold virtual lunch twice a week, as well as a courageous conversation once a month, which is a parent forum that allows our parents to come in and ask questions and just speak freely about things that are going on at the academy and subjects relating to their sons. So that's where we're at in regards to counseling at the boys.
Hey, thank you very much. And the question for you, Mr. Gunn, when they were thinking about, I guess when the conversation was about trying to endorse DuBois Academy as a community, then some of the questions rose as, is it going to be for an elite group of students, you know, as opposed to everyone across the board? Speak to that to our audience in terms of what is the demographics, you know, at DuBois Academy?
Sure thing. I'd love to. You know, this is a very interesting question. And actually, when the school was opening, I just felt the need to write like an op-ed piece for the Courier Journal, because I kept getting that question about who our students are going to be and why do we need a school. So the first topic, you know, that came up is, well, aren't you just resegregating schools by having a school that's predominantly for males of color? I found that to be very interesting because my counter to that thought process was, well, if you look at our alternative schools in Jefferson County Public Schools, and you see that over 90% of students who attend schools for misbehavior are Black males, why isn't this same, you know, fervor met when we're asking, why is this student population so high? You know, my thought was, well, some people feel that that's where our guys deserve to be. So then you take that and you juxtapose it to what the DuBois Academy is, an academy of excellence for all young men, whether you're a young man of color or not. We allow any and everyone to apply for our school. You know, I found it very interesting to see that we wanted to talk about segregation when we were talking about doing something that would positively promote, you know, our young men. The second thing that we had to address was, well, all you're going to do is just cherry pick all the good ones. My immediate response to that was, well, every young man is a good one. So I don't know which good ones you're talking about, because that infers that some of the other ones are bad, right? So we had to address that. But to let you know what we did, especially in our first year of students, I wanted to shut that all the way down, Dr. Stark. So our first year, every single student that applied to our school that was at a low performing school automatically got accepted. Our first year, we had parents do a questionnaire. We asked students to do a questionnaire. Didn't matter. We looked and we saw that you went to, you know, Foster. We saw that you went to Englehart. We saw that you went to Bick, schools that I know are excellent schools. But if you look on paper and you look at just academic achievement data, you know, some folks may say that those schools are subpar, which is nowhere near the case. But nonetheless, how else better to shut that whole argument down and say, if you apply from those schools, you're automatically going to get in. Full transparency, Dr. Stark, when we started in our first year, we needed to get as many students as we could. I was at the Showcase of Schools. This was not young Lion Johnson's year, or actually Lion David Johnson. This wasn't his year, but the year before, when our young king, Jaden Mostiller, was applying his 6th grade year at the Showcase of Schools, I couldn't tell parents where our location was going to be because we didn't even have a building set yet. So again, we were trying to get all students that we could. So when it came down to the DuBois Academy, and to this day, we have a lottery system that has criteria built into it. So when people ask which students come to DuBois, again, it's open to any student, any young man, and our requirements are very minimal. Pretty much, if you are a male and you have been to school, then you can arrive at the DuBois Academy. Just to throw out, without naming names, some of our folks said, well, you know, again, you're going to cherry pick all the highest performing students. We have students in our school building, each class, that have a 4.0 all the way down to a 0.0. We have students who have been suspended for 67 days as elementary students, and we have students who have never been in trouble a day in their lives. We have students who are in EBD self-contained classrooms in their elementary school. At the DuBois Academy, as long as I am principal and as long as these leaders that you see are there, we refuse to have an EBD self-contained unit. So what does that mean? If a student is randomly selected to come to the DuBois Academy and his 5th grade year, he's in an EBD self-contained classroom, and I don't want to assume that everyone on this line is an educator. So EBD stands for emotional and behavioral disorder or disability. And those students typically at their elementary setting, if they're EBD self-contained, They're in a classroom, 8 students total, a teacher and a teacher's assistant. Those students are in that classroom all day until they go to special area math, I'm sorry, not math, but like PE or art or something of that nature. Otherwise, they're not what we call mainstream with their peers. At the DuBois Academy, we will never have an EBD self-contained unit. So we've had students who got into the DuBois Academy. We've looked at their IEPs or their individual educational plans. We've looked at those and we've told their parents, we will not have them in a self-contained setting. So we've had to amend IEPs so students could attend our school. So I say all that to say we have a huge mix of students. If you look at our academic data, we have about 1/3 of our students who qualify for advanced program, about 1/3 of our students that would be considered what we call or what educators call comprehensive. Then we have about 1/3 of our students who come in who are well below grade level. Regardless of where our students are, it is our job to make sure we take them from their starting point, which is different for different students, and we push them forward from that starting point. And the last thing I will say to that point, if you look at JCPS numbers over the last 3 years when it comes to academic testing for our students, specifically the MAP test, there is not a school in our district that students have shown more growth, African-American male students, in math or in reading than the DuBois Academy. Meaning our guys who come in and they're high level, we're pushing them to higher levels. Our guys who come in who are lower level, we're pushing them to higher levels as well. So those are just things. Long answer to your question, Dr. Stark, but I wanted to make sure I kind of walk people through the process that we undertake and the historical backlash or background noise that we've heard about, who gets accepted into the DuBois Academy.
Absolutely, and I've heard that noise as well, and that's why I wanted you to address that to the audience for those people who don't know the history or the prior background of what's going on. And again, as we stated that when we look at an alternative school that's predominantly male, Black males, then that's not a question. And so why do we question when we want to try to get the best and the most out of Black excellence, our Black males? So yes, thank you for that. And for Jaden, tell me, what do you contribute to DuBois Academy? Because it's not just about taking, what do you contribute to DuBois Academy?
I basically contribute to like being a leader. Like I help my other brothers whenever they need it, and like whenever I need to do anything or anything needs to be done, I'm usually the first one to say I got it, I can do it, and yeah, just basically being a leader, being there to help people, and just that.
Give me some specifics of examples of how you've led, and what you've done.
I'm in this group called L3, which basically stands for Alliance League Louisville, where we go around and we help people basically doing shoe drives, toy drives, and food drives. Where basically we give people stuff to help them in need, and like basically I'm usually there to help them and do like basically the most of it. So yeah.
Thank you very much. David Johnson, the question to you as well, because it's not just about receiving, it's about how do we give back, to our community? How do we give back to the Brotherhood?
My contribution, other than wanting to have a step team, I would say my contribution is I'm the guy who's, emotionally speaking, I'm always the guy who's like smiling. It's rare to see me down. I think my staff member, and that would be Ms. Peake, has ever seen me down. And usually when I'm down, it's because I take something like to the heart. Cause I'm that guy. Because whenever you tell me, even if it's not directly to me or like I'm on the sidelines and listening, I'm still gonna take it to the heart because I'm still hearing it. But other than that, I'm just the guy who's always smiling. I like to cheer up people. I don't like to see people down. I'm not that type of guy. And just like Jaden, Mr. Jaden Mostiller say, I'm also in L3. We help. We do toy drives, food drives. We give shoes. We do a whole lot of things just for the community because the community has done so much to us for us.
Okay. So another question for David. In terms of the curriculum, tell me the curriculum at DuBois Academy. I'm not sure exactly what elementary school you went to, but how has that allowed you to thrive, as as a student at DuBois Academy?
Well, I went to Brandeis, grade, and the curriculum. I mean, I really like the curriculum because in the curriculum with most schools, I don't think they like maybe once or twice they'll touch back and what you get in elementary school and those type of things. But at W.E.B. DuBois, our teachers they'll touch back. So before they do a lesson, they'll be like, "Have they taught you this in 5th grade?" And then if most people say no, they'll go over it. And so that's why we can get a fresh start of what we learned back in 5th grade, so it can be easier to learn, easier to understand. And because we get that fresh start in our mind, it'll make like Mr. Gunn said, actual scores go up. So that's why I think the curriculum is very different and helps me to thrive at WB.
Okay, Jaden, what does the curriculum do for you?
It basically just helps me with what I need to do in life, and basically helps me a lot because I'm about to go to high school and I'm getting older, and like it helps me because like if I'm like gonna grow up and I want to do stuff, like I'm gonna need to be able to know how to do the math and how to talk to people and how to work with people, and like basically the curriculum, it helps me do that type of stuff. It helps me engage and it keeps me focused on what I want to be in life.
Thank you. Hey, we have Rajon Wando has been very instrumental, I think, in providing to DuBois Academy. And so talk to me about any one of you all. What has been his contribution and his commitment to DuBois Academy?
Well, someone else want to go, or okay?
You can take it.
Well,
You got it, Mr. Mostiller.
Okay. Well, he actually gave us these jackets and on the first day of our like meeting, and like he actually gave these to us and he sponsored it, but like he sponsored it to us. So basically he helps us with giving us the stuff that we need to grow and exceed and help each other in life.
Okay. Thank you. Any the adults want to add to that? Mm-hmm.
Sure, I can just add briefly, Dr. Stark, like young King, Mr. Mostiller just mentioned, you know, Mr. Rondo has been extremely and incredibly, you know, hospitable when it comes to our young men. So that first class, every year he donates money for, you know, blazers for our students. Again, if in our mission, we want to eliminate barriers, you know, we don't want students to have a need for a blazer, right? So he provides hundreds of blazers. He's bought ties for our young men. One of the things that you will notice, if you see any of our students wearing a bow tie like the one I'm wearing, like the one Mr. Brooks is wearing, like the one young King Jaden Mostiller is wearing, if you maintain a 3.5 GPA for a semester at our school, you're awarded a bow tie. Well, Mr. Rondo heard about that, and unbeknownst to the students, he called and was just like, "Hey, what size shoes do most middle schoolers wear?" So we gave him a range of sizes, and little did we know, we got a delivery of about 100 pair of shoes. You know, so he's like, for every kid that got, you know, that 3.5 GPA, just surprise them, and you know, let's give them a pair of shoes as well. And the thing that I love most about, you know, Mr. Rondo is he never comes to our school with media. He doesn't even, most times, doesn't let us know when he's coming. He might be in town and shoot a text to myself or to Mr. Smith and say, "Hey, can I stop by?" And we're like, "You know, you're always welcome." So we're not expecting them. The media's not expecting them. The students not expecting them. But he is a genuine Louisvillian who is invested, you know, in the success of our students.
And I asked that question as if everyone knows who Rajon Rondo is, and you know, I'm a sports fan, so I do know. So let's let everyone know who Rajon Rondo is, so that everyone on the call who may or may not know who he is can know today.
Mr. Garrett, you go ahead. I know you're the basketball man. Go ahead.
Rajon Rondo, his friends call him Johnny, grew up 7th Street, so he's from Louisville, went to Eastern, left about his sophomore year to go to Oak Hill, played at the University of Kentucky, and he's been a stellar performance ever since, you know, and he contributes a lot. I actually worked a lot of his basketball camps he does with Coach W.E.B Central's head coach, and he invests in that school as well. So he's just been a great influence, great basketball player, but even a better person.
Okay. Thank you. You know, and again, sometimes people just look at the basketball and don't look at the person. And then it's about, you know, we need all hands on deck. And so I'm glad that he was able to continue to contribute and again, not looking for the photo op, but being there to truly care and committed to the young people. Is Miss Kathy back or is she gone?
She is not.
Okay, Mr. Brooks, tell us about some other things about what's happening at DuBois Academy that you'd like to share with us today and the audience.
Okay. Well, our core counseling program is very unique. What we do with our core counseling is we combine music, specifically hip hop. We give a survey at the beginning of the year to ask our students what genre of music, and hip hop, which is the sound of the world right now. So we use hip hop and we infuse that with African American history, along with our counseling initiative, and put that together for our students and deliver that to them. An example that I'll use is we talked about the start of hip hop and how the birth of hip hop was born through perseverance, which is the P in our pride value. So we use the birth of hip hop and how that was born through perseverance and how they can apply those same supports or strategies to their life. So we just infuse all of the things that we feel our young men need and that they are into now, so that they can take what they need from us, as well as we can give it to them in a manner that they are interested in. So we take pride in that core counseling.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And for the audience, if you'd like to put questions in the chat, then please feel free to do so. But I also want to ask a question that right now we're dealing with racism and social justice at the pandemic level. And I tell individuals that we're dealing with 5 pandemics, not only COVID-19, but racism and social justice, educational disparities, economic disparities, and the insurrection at the Capitol that just happened that continues to compound itself. So for young Black men, how do you help them to navigate the world in which they're living in right now so that they would not become a statistics? How do you help them to just comprehend what's happening today?
Can I take this one, please?
Yes.
With me, I go to marches because I just felt like what went on at the Capitol was crazy, and all this racism, it's out of my mind right now. And it's just so hard to comprehend because this went back all the way to the 1960s or even before that, because or kind or race or ethnicity or whatever you may call it, we were slaves and chattel slaves, whatever type of slaves. We were just treated so poorly, and I think what we need to do is just keep on preaching the word like Martin Luther King did, and Malcolm X, and all those other civil rights activists did. Just keep on spreading the word, keep on marching, keep on praying, keep on being a king, showing people that we are not going to be treated like slaves anymore. We are leaders. We're not going to sit back and we're not going to follow the rules of the white man. And whoever is, can I say it, Caucasian, I am so sorry if I offend you in any way. I am so sorry. I do not mean it. But we will not sit back, and we shall overcome this racism by being the empowerment that leads to a greater world. We shall navigate people into a better life so that everybody can still be equal, because there's so much inequality right now. And I just feel like if we just keep being leaders, keep making leaders, keep being the symbol of empowerment, keep on marching, keep on praying, keep on preaching the word, keep on preaching about how bad racism is and all of that other stuff, we can navigate the world into a way better place.
Thank you very much. And Thank you, David Johnson Jr. And for the adults and David, yes, and we appreciate you, but we know that every young person is not where you are. So for the staff, how do you help those other individuals to comprehend, to navigate it in such a way that they can be productive? Because it's easy to be mad and angry and to take that anger and to do something crazy. But how do you help them to be able to look at what you can do as opposed to looking at it as not looking from the deficit mindset, but looking at what we can do? How do you
Dr.
all
Stark,
help those people? Mhm.
I'll jump in here and thank you, David. And actually, David is a prime example of what we do at DuBois, right? And so we have a model that we use. We're not teaching students what to think, teaching them how to think, giving them ways to find resources, and they come up with their own thought process, right? So I don't think in a perfect world, even during NTI, we could give David a script and have him read from it with that much passion, right? And so we've given him the tools to think for himself. And so when it comes down to it, each individual is different, and being Black and being a Black boy is not this monolithic experience where we all feel and think the same things, but giving them opportunities to be leaders, opportunities to think for themselves, teaching them from both sides of history. You know, a lot of the books that I was raised on, a lot of the books that were used in schools historically have been Eurocentric, right? Even down to the maps that we see have been Eurocentrically made. And so teaching them that African American history didn't start in 1619, right? It started way before that. And so once they have the ability to understand those things, then we infuse a lot of their passions. We infuse, we have a class called, we have a social justice class at our school, one of the first in the district to do that. And so being able to take those things and again, giving them tools to think for themselves and power then to have a platform like this or to be able to use their leadership skills in other ways is a powerful tool we use at DuBois Academy.
Thank you. Anyone else want to jump in on that question?
At DuBois, we take advantage of a lot of opportunities, lead for change. I'm the 7th grade assistant principal. We have a magnificent group of teachers, and they're so passionate. Just this week, the 7th grade ELA team for Lead for Change project, they sent donations to the just nurses, frontline workers, and they sent us a video back. It was tears in their eyes, and it just brought complete joy to me and that whole group of students just expressing themselves. They wanted to do something to contribute positively to society, understanding that racism is here, okay? We can't deny that. We expose them to the truth, but how can we turn that racism into a positive moment? So we're always searching for innovative ways to showcase our talents, let them know that we have the best students in JCPS, and we're eager for opportunity and growth, and we're rewriting history. We're going to change the narrative.
Very good. And speaking of that, what have been some of your challenges as administrators? What have been some of your challenges? That was a question that came from in the chat box from Mallory Mitchell. What has been the biggest challenge for administrators and students in creating this school and community?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So thank you for asking, Ms. Mitchell. I would say one of the major challenges that we faced right away, and for the educators who are on the line, you know, the dreamers, if you will. I talked earlier about why we got into education. You know, too often we come against a hurdle, whether it's this canned curriculum that your principal is making you do, or this initiative that the district is pushing onto a school that kind of stifles our creativity and kind of, you know, extinguishes that fire that we have. And sometimes we get into the mindset of, well, if this is what it's going to be, I'll just do what I'm supposed to do. But you kind of lose that fire and that passion. So one of the biggest challenges that we had at the DuBois Academy was reacclimating, you know, our why and like reinvigorating ourselves, because we have a saying at our school in terms of, you know, think outside of the box. We have eliminated the box all the way together. So that was a difficult transition, you know, for our entire staff. And from leadership, it had to be some very intentional conversations that I was able to have, luckily, with people at the district level to let them know that certain things that were being pushed by the district weren't necessarily going to fly at W.E.B. DuBois Academy. And that doesn't mean we think that we're better than anyone or that I want to be disrespectful as a leader, but we promised our community something different. We promised our young men something different. So why should we do, look, sound, feel, operate the way that 154 other schools do? I would argue that we shouldn't, and therefore we won't. So that was a huge challenge, overcoming, you know, just that obstacle and that hurdle. But once we got into our comfort zone of saying, you know, a teacher would say, hey, can I teach this lesson? Yes. Can I do this? Yes, you can. As long as the why behind what you're doing is to empower our students, it matches up with our mission. Let's do it. Let's go forward. Ironically enough, Dr. Stark, there's been a lot of naysayers in the community. Jaden remembers his 6th grade year. We actually received a nasty letter from a parent of the community. We were sharing a facility with Male High School. And this woman decided to send an email that was forwarded to me on a Sunday night. I will never forget it. And in her email, you know, she went on about her daughter. She had 2 daughters that attended Male, and she didn't like that her daughters had to go to school with those boys. She didn't like that her daughters had to see the slogan, one pride, one brotherhood. She didn't like the fact that her daughters had to walk past Black male faces of prominent African-American leaders in our community and in our country and our nation's history on the walls. So in her letter, she made a lot of claims that weren't necessarily true. So you talk about our curriculum and how we use opportunities, like Mr. Garrett was just talking about, to change the narrative. I decided to read the email Monday morning to our entire staff and student body. As you can imagine, hearing some of those things that, 1, weren't true, and 2, were, you know, definitely, I would say, on the nice level, misunderstood, on a bad level, just flat out racist, right? So I read that to our students. And again, as you can imagine, the reaction was visceral. We had folks who were angry, we had folks upset, but as opposed to just sitting there and being mad about this and you know, cursing this lady out in our minds, we decided to turn it into an entire instructional unit as to how one can make a claim. And we taught our students how to make a counterclaim. So all of our students wrote this woman back. So 150 plus letters were written over the course of several days. And the one thing that I'll end on this, that is so important about our young men and lets you know their leadership. You've heard us reference our pride values: perseverance, resilience, initiative, discipline, and empathy. And you all, the level of empathy that our young men showed in their letters and their responses to this woman, they went from being upset that she made all these false accusations and claims to truly trying to understand, inviting her to come to our school because they wanted her to see that whatever thoughts and beliefs that she had about them were just flat out untrue. So as opposed to them being mean in their letters, they were inviting her to come and see them, and they wanted to meet her. And several of them apologized to her because they said they just didn't understand what experiences she could have had that would make her say the things that she said about our students. So that's how our curriculum comes full circle. And that's how you take a negative experience potentially and you turn it into something positive that as an educator, I'll never forget. It's one of the highlights in you know, I've been doing this now for almost 20 years, but it's definitely a highlight there.
But again, it was a teachable moment, you know, because like I said, those young men provided a teachable moment to her, you know, that what she thought, you know, and so many times, like right now, we are more segregated in 2021 than we were in 1965, you know, and which is disheartening because people live in their own bubble. And what happens all too often is that what they see on TV becomes their reality. And we know 90% of what they see on TV about Black males is negative. But those Black males were able to turn it around and, like I said, not be mad and angry, but to provide an opportunity to educate her, you know, and to invite her to be able to see exactly what DuBois Academy was all about. And that's what we have to do as a community, as a country. We need to have those courageous conversations that all too often does not happen, or there's not a place or platform for those things to happen. So kudos to those young men and to the leadership team for providing that opportunity for those young men, because they're going to encounter some of that again, you know, but they'll know how to deal with it in a positive way as opposed to a negative way, which is what we want for them. Because we know that sometimes people get mad and they just a split moment decision can make a difference in and just a bad decision can be costly for the rest of their lives. But providing them that opportunity at such a young age, you know, provides them an opportunity to be able to look at possibilities and how to deal with conflict in a positive way.
And Dr. Stark, thank you. And really quickly, if I may, just a second piece of Ms. Mitchell's question. Other challenges when it comes to students, you just nailed something right on the head when you talk about not only do individuals outside of the African-American male community see certain images and portrayals of what it is or what it means to be a Black man or a Black male or a male of color, our students see those things as well. So one of the challenges, and Dr. Pedro Noguera talks about this a lot in his research, is creating an academic identity for our scholars at our school. And the same way that some individuals outside of the Black male community or the male of color community view our students, some of our students have actually internalized that, and they would view themselves that way. So overcoming that barrier of letting our young men know you do not have to be a ball player, you do not have to be a rapper, you can literally be whatever you want to be. And at this school, we are going to give you the support, we're going to give you the guidance, we're going to give you all the tools that you need to show everyone, including yourself, that you aren't cast into certain roles as a male of color in our country. So I think that we do a great job of that, especially with the males that we have, the work that Mr. Brooke, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Peake, that they do. But that is a struggle initially when our students, some of our students enter our building. They have this sense of what it means to be hard and what it means to be this Black male. And, you know, we just look to disarm them of that. We laugh, we smile, we cry, we say that we love you. Everything that typically they might not be seen, you know, portrayed in the media.
Thank you. We have a question from Ms. Harmon. And our question is, Mr. Gunn, we talk about equity and learning for students of color. If you were to advise other principals, what would you share about the benefits and importance of culture and understanding and advancing the learning of all students?
Thank you. I think that that's an excellent question. I feel, you know, that I also believe in equity of voice. So we have other leaders on the line, and Mr. Peake, as he mentioned earlier, he is our Dean of Culture and Climate for Students. So Mr. Peake, I'll let you answer that. If there's anything else I can add on at the end.
So Dr. Stark, you wanted me to answer the question about our culture and climate?
Yes, yes. What would you share with other principals or APs or either leadership teams in other school buildings, the benefits of having an understanding of the culture and advancing the learning of our students at the DuBois Academy?
I think when you look at how we understand our students, you have to go back to situations to where our students have been, you know, cast to the side in a way, right? And so understanding that, you have to first understand who they are, where they're from, what kind of language they speak. Oftentimes, you know, they're being called aggressive, they're being called talkative, they're being called these things, and really and truly, they just have a story to tell. They have ways of communicating that we don't understand. And so at DuBois Academy, we are a school that firmly believes in, we have practiced restorative practices, right? And so understanding that from an assistant principal standpoint, knowing that no student in my building will be perfect every single day, but we make sure that we give students opportunities to make a decision and then correct that decision, right? And so it'll be oftentimes in that same Brotherhood Time, we'll get a student to raise their hand and ask to speak to the whole entire group. And unprompted, the student will apologize for an incident he might have had, or behaviors he might have shown, or just some things that he might have done that he felt bad about. And so having that accountability piece for the whole entire school is really big. I had never seen students address their own population, their own colleagues, their own brothers in a setting publicly and denounce their own behavior. But at the same time, what comes with that is a sense of relief. You know, if a student is able to be accountable for themselves and understand that that one mistake they made is not going to define who they are, that mistake or that one out of character moment is not going to determine how high they can fly, and we're able to give them a second chance, we often do that. And so with DuBois Academy, it's not about punishing. We practice a lot of things that that will hinder us from just punishing the student. We don't put kids out of class. We don't have an ISAP room because there's no learning in that. There's no, I know Mr. Gunn said in our first year, he's not going to pay a teacher to sit in the classroom and just watch some kids all day. If we're going to be in class, we're going to learn. And so when students in the office, the comment piece is simple. It's simple questions. What happened? Okay, now how do we fix it? And how we fix it, it usually ends with, apologizing to my classmates, apologizing to my teacher for wasting their time and going back and getting to work, and we're making sure that they're understanding that, regardless of their mistakes, they can still be a king and still be held in high esteem. And so with the hopes of that, we don't have a lot of repeat offenders, because when it comes down to it, they got a chance to make a choice and then make that choice correct.
Very good, thank you. We have a question from Dr. Howe, Penny Howe. She's at the University of Louisville, and her question is, how often do teachers engage in community building activities in the classroom during the school day? What types of activities do they do? And what are some things teachers do to build relationship with students?
We engage in a lot of activities, and it's pretty much at the grade level. We give the teacher the autonomy to just to survey students and see what is in the best interest of students and how they can be most conducive. Each morning we start off with what we call our Brotherhood Time from 9 to 9:30, and that's just an affirmation period. And a lot of times we brainstorm different ideas there. Right now we have, JCPS has the Backpack for Success, and I often talk about the backpack of life. So what we want our students to be equipped with post-secondary. So a lot of our activities is what they can do in the community. This often is gonna make their living conditions better and post-secondary needs met.
Dr. Stark, you mind if I add to that?
Yes.
And another thing along the lines of what Mr. Garrett just shared is we have on Fridays what is called our passion period. And this is an opportunity for our teachers to teach a class based on what their passions are and based on the interest of our students. So this is their opportunity to give back to the student body in a realm outside of the academic piece. And it provides our students, ample opportunities to dive into something that they're interested in, also outside of the academic realm. So that passion piece also is how our teachers give back to our students.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a question from Judy Lippman. She's with the League of Women Voters. And again, we have people from all over the community that's with us today and continue to be a part of the Nystrand Center Forum activities. And her question is, do you all ever get a chance to partner with your sister school, Grace James Academy? And I know they've just started with COVID-19. Have you all had a chance to disconnect just yet? Or is that coming later just because of the restraints of COVID-19?
So,
go ahead, Mr. Peake. Go ahead.
Yes,
Sir.
I appreciate it. So we actually have had an opportunity. We did recently, I believe it was in November, we did a joint community service venture with Grace James. They were looking to have a donation drive, and so we hosted that at our school also, because they're in the West End and we're in Newburgh. We wanted to make sure that we got a well-rounded response from the community, and so simple things like that. And then we're also looking to do some more partner activities. COVID-19 has really impacted education as a whole, and for them, it's impacted their opening. And so I know what it felt like to be nervous and walk into our building for the first time. And for us at DuBois, having a building that was unfinished, we walked into it on the first day of school. And Mr. Gunn calling the staff meeting the first day and saying, look, guys, worry about what you guys can control. We can't worry if the tile is done. We can't worry about if your desk is put together. You can control what you can control. And so I think for them, it's been more of an uphill battle because they've opened during COVID-19, but they are truly our sister schools. So when it comes down to it, we will have a partnership that is deeper than any school has had before with those gyms at Grace James.
Thank you. Mr. David Johnson, Jr. Okay. Talk to me about some things about the DuBois. What else do you like about DuBois Academy? Because we just want to make sure that it's not all the adults. We want to know your experiences, your goals, your directions, and all those great things that's happening. But you and Jaden, at DuBois Academy.
Well, let me start with my goals first, because I feel like that's the biggest thing out of all. So I'm gonna start with the biggest thing. My goal is as you know, I sound as a leader right now, but to me, I feel like I'm more of a follower more than a leader. So I'm hoping that with the teachers at DuBois that soon as I leave DuBois, I come with a leader, be able to stand up more for what's right, be able to help problems like the racism and the inequality in the world take a stand by the time I leave DuBois, because I feel like they're the one school I can count on to actually reach my goals and not just give up on it. The experiences I a lot of experience. I have teachers, I have counselors, teachers, I mean everyone in the staff I can be honest to and vulnerable to, and they can just not make fun of it or just not say the wrong thing and just come with they'll always have the right answer for me if I'm ever vulnerable or just feeling just not myself. Yeah, I would say what I like most about DuBois is map testing. I would say that before map testing, like last year when we did the map testing, that was pre-COVID. Mr. Gunn did 79 push-ups, and I think that was like a record. And he was like, if I can do 79 push-ups, and that was a new record, you can all push past your limits and get over your last year map test scores. And I just feel like that was so inspiring. And I feel like because I feel like I came out as a new person after I left the map testing, and just knowing that Mr. Gunn and the whole staff was there for me and showing me that I can do anything, I can push past my limits, was just amazing.
Okay. Very good. How many years have you been at DuBois Academy, David?
Exactly 2 years.
Exactly 2 years. So, hey, Jaden, how many years have you been at DuBois Academy?
3 years.
Okay, so you started with the opening. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I like that kind of what David said. I like the teachers are really there for us, and like they talk to us like we're their own children, and like how they're there and helping us become better men, and yeah, just like being there.
Okay. Now with DuBois Academy, I know that there was initially from 6 to 8, and so we've moved to. Is it going to be a yearly thing? Is we going to go? So talked about the structure of what's the game plan for JCPS and what they have done or what they're going to do, Mr. Gunn.
Yes, ma'am. So we are going to be a 6th through 12th grade academy, as you mentioned. So Jaden's class will always be our lead class. So he was the first 6th grade class, 7th grade class, 8th grade class. Next year, he will be in our first 9th grade class. And then we'll add a 6th grade. So his class will always be the lead class. By the time he's a senior, we'll be fully outfitted as a 6th through 12th grade academy. And one of the things that we're looking to do at the DuBois Academy is, we made a commitment to our students. We made a promise years ago, 4 years ago, actually, before we opened our doors. I was very careful to say, this is just Robert Earl Gunn Jr. speaking, but at the end of 3 years of a middle school, there's going to be no way that the district will be able to tell us that we can't go on to high school. So we want to see it through with all of our young men. So right now, as we're developing our high school, we're actually still surveying our students to see, what are these pathways that you all want to do. Mr. Peake, Mr. Garrett, Mr. Brooks, they talked about our passion classes. So from their thoughts and their feedback, we've designed our entire high school, to see what it is that they want to do. And again, to be able to see every young man at the DuBois Academy. No student that was with us in middle school should have to leave the DuBois Academy because we don't offer something. So we're making a commitment to all of our students that we want to see them through to the college or the career of their choice. Because again, I am an adamant believer that if every young man who is coming out of the DuBois Academy has the opportunity to do what he wants to do in life, that's one less young man that anyone could see as being a deficit. That's one less young man that the system can gobble up and eat up and do whatever they want to do with them. We want to empower our young men to make sure that they can be great. And the biggest thing, Dr. Stark, and this is for anyone on the line, we truly want to obliterate that narrative. If this can be done at the W.E.B. DuBois Academy, it can be done anywhere. And then the demand becomes, it must be done everywhere, because it shouldn't just be the young men who are attending our school that are getting these opportunities, you know, to be great.
You're absolutely right, because I think we were involved in a forum a couple of years ago, and I stated that question that, yes, we have DuBois Academy, but there are many, many Black males beyond DuBois Academy, and they should be afforded that same opportunity, and that the district or district team or people should be there looking at what's happening so we can duplicate that for the other students, other Black male students in Jefferson County, and not, the other Black male students in Jefferson County. So as we look at moving forward, what can the community do to help and assist the leadership team and the students at DuBois Academy to continue to be examples, of excellence, or to be examples of moving forward? Because no, we're not perfect, but we're striving to be better. What is the ask for the community to help and assist DuBois Academy?
I think one of the biggest asks, Mr. Brooks, I'll jump ahead of you really quick. One of the biggest asks is for access and opportunity, right? Somebody had put in the chat that he got a chance to meet about 20 of our students because they were invited down to the U of L health sciences, and I think Jaden was with that group of students. And it was just powerful to see them, when they're in their lab coats, and see them on that field trip. But that access piece that a lot of our students that are like mine or like ours don't get a chance to see, and it's past sports, right? We've had U of L's football team come and talk to our students, but the biggest thing is when we can take our students out and have them see what they can be, have them be able to have access to these campuses and access to different career paths, because only truly will they find their passion when it looks them dead in their eye. And I know Mr. Brooks is heavy in instrumental with that as far as careers. I was able to take a group of kids to my alma mater, K-State. And it wasn't for a homecoming, it was for a college day. So imagine a college day for a college in Frankfurt, where we took a group of 6th graders because we wanted to be able to see, listen, this is what a college campus is like. And we're to go back every year to make sure you guys understand that if this is your choice, if it's your career path that you want to take, that we give you access to it and opportunities to find that passion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brooks.
All right. So here's a plug for our school-wide mentoring program. We do have a mentoring program called the Lions to Leaders program. So anyone in the community that wants to help and hands-on with our young men, we're always looking for, mentors to work with our young men. All you have to do is be able to pass a background check. We don't care about your race, creed, color, gender, none of that. So if you want to help and be hands-on, our Lions to Leaders mentor program is a great way. Dr. Starks, I can put my email in the chat, and you can contact me if you're interested. And once things get rolling, we will put you in there. So that's a great way.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
I share the same sentiment that the team, just providing those opportunities for students, I think is going to be imperative, because right now, it's crucial that we start thinking about post-secondary. What do you want to be? Already at a young age, developing that mindset, I want to be this in life. Because as Mr. Gunn had alluded to earlier, oftentimes we look at social media and it's not too much promotion of lawyers, doctors, teachers, and other influential people. So I'm not going to discourage students who is interested in rap or being an athlete. I'm a former student athlete myself, but I understood that the student lasted longer than the athlete. So we want to continue to focus on that, create those post-secondary opportunities. And I think it's a great opportunity as we transition to a high school, continue to develop those partnerships. And I think that would be monumental for our students and the community as they support our Kings, Lions, and Young Lions to achieve greatness.
Thank you very much. Jaden, what can the community do for you to be able to help and assist you at DuBois Academy?
Just keep spreading positivity. Make sure to basically, just keep spreading positivity, helping the young men helping the young men grow and keep succeeding in life and being better and more leaders and stuff like that.
Mhm. David Johnson, what can the community do? What else can the community do? Because we know it's all hands on deck. It's not just no one entity that can do this work alone.
I totally agree. Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Jaden with this one. Just keep on spreading the positivity. If just keep spreading the knowledge, your past experience, because at a school, our teachers always say, they don't want us to be like them. They want us to have a better life than them. That's why we need all the knowledge we can get so we can provide, so we can get a better life, so that the people, our next generation, won't be like our generation right now. It'll be better than this generation right now. That's why I think it's really important to have the community, or just anyone in the whole entire nation, if for at that matter, just to spread the knowledge to the young people, so that everybody can have a better life than the next generation or the people before.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gunn, what else can the community do to help and assist DuBois Academy and you and your leadership?
Yeah, I think Dr. Stark, the team, and our young men have done a good job in just telling everyone what they can do. And really, it boils down to 3 points. It's time, talent, or treasure. Time, you can invest in our young men in our mentorship program. Talent, as we discussed, we want our young men to have opportunities in different environments, in different types of workplaces. And those opportunities don't just help our student, they also help individuals who may not live with or around or encounter a lot of young men who are like our students. So the same way that, you know, Mr. Johnson going to GE to visit Appliance Park helps him see Appliance Park, it also helps people at Appliance Park who might, you know, have a certain notion or mentality or thought process about, you know, what young men like Mr. Johnson or Mr. Mostiller might be like. Then again, you know, we talked about Mr. Wando earlier. We talk about, you know, treasure, any donations that come to the DuBois Academy. They're filtered through Metro United Way. We literally have a donation page set through them. 100% of funds go towards, you know, assisting our students. Our students don't have to pay to go on field trips. Any of our students who can't, you know, or their parents or families don't have the means for things like uniforms, school supplies, all of those things are provided for our students. So those are the 3 ways that we ask, you know, our community to engage with us. Again, you might not have the time, but you might have the talent. You might have the time and talent, but you don't have the treasure. But if you want to make an impact and a difference at our school, there's an opportunity for everyone. And really quickly, Dr. Stark, I just wanted to hit back and address something that Mr. Johnson said earlier. And I wanted to publicly let him know not to question your leadership. I know that you stated that you sometimes you find yourself as being more of a follower than a leader, and that's absolutely appropriate. As the leader of a school, it's okay for me to know I work and I serve along tremendous individuals like Mr. Brooks, like Mr. Garrett, and like Mr. Peake. So oftentimes while I'm seen as the leader, I'm also following their lead on things. And I can tell you, just based on what I see from you being here, the way that you speak when we're in school, the way that you address your brothers, your way that you step up for everyone around you, make no mistake, you are an incredible leader and you will only continue to get better. Mr. Mostiller, exact same thing for you. You know, you are on our leadership program. I mean, you are gifted and talented in leadership. So I just want to let you all know in front of all these people, some we know and some that we don't, you all are leaders and you deserve to be in every space that you're in. And regardless of who your audience is, you have a voice that deserves to be heard. So never, ever question or doubt that.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. And I want to say that to David as well, is that every great leader is also a follower, you know, because you don't have all the answers. And so sometimes you have to be a great follower to be a great leader. And when you indicated that you always walking with a smile and you feel empathy for your brothers, then that's leadership. You know, that's helping them to be able to get over whatever they're going through that particular day. Then that's a leadership quality. So don't second guess, you know, yourself, you know, with that. We do have a question from Leslie Marcelino. She is from the League of Women Voters as well. Leslie?
Actually, excuse me, I wasn't, I was just going to say that I I second what Mr. Gunn has said about those two boys and their leadership qualities, and they need a lot of, no, they don't need. They should get a lot of praise and compliments for both their leadership and their ability to follow.
Absolutely, and one of the things, my goal and my rationale for this is that, again, to be able to showcase Black excellence, because all too often, many times people see the Black males as the boogeyman or in the negative light. I want to be able to showcase the talent, not only the leadership, but also the students that's there, because this allows individuals to be able to see differently. And many times, as I said earlier, there's not opportunities to have those conversations, or there's not opportunities for people to see exactly what is the work that's happening at DuBois Academy. And so I felt an obligation to have you all here today because, and Mr. Gunn, I've been talking to you since December, and it was with persistence and relentlessness because I felt that it was important for people to be able to see exactly, what's happening, because people don't know. And as I stated that, we are more segregated in 2021 than we were in 1965. And when you don't know, so you make assumptions. And many times it's to the detriment, of people of color. So that was my rationale and my motivation for having you all here today, for that reason. So I think we have any other questions or anyone else who want to, we have another 14 minutes. So if there's anyone that would like to speak to the leadership team or to the young men, then please feel free to do so. You can unmute yourself and just be able to share your words of wisdom or something that you like these young men to know about, something that you would like to share with them.
I'm sorry. In the mail. Huh? I am David Johnson Jr., a 7th grade student at W.E.B DuBois. Mr. Peake sent me the questions, and there was the very last question said, "What is brotherhood?" And I feel like that is the most. That's the most to me right now, because a brotherhood is probably what is keeping us from not going crazy right now, or not even a brotherhood, a family is what's keeping us from not going insane right now, keeping us grounded. I just feel that a brotherhood is something that's anyone can be your brother or sister. It doesn't have to be by blood or anything. No matter what, anybody can be your brother. But if you have that spark, that connection to laugh, to be able to get along, to not have fights, that's what I call a brotherhood. That's what I call being friendly. That's what I call not being insane or grounded, because that's what's literally hurting us. Because right now I feel like we're holding by a thread right now. Because what happened? Because I feel like there was a thick thread at first, but then there was a riot of the Capitol. That's one thread off, and then there was the March for Breonna Taylor. That's another thread off, and there was just so many stuff going on, and then we just had one thread left. And I feel that family and connection is that glue that's holding the thread before that thread falls. And I just feel like that's an important part right now, is to having the brotherhood and the sisterhood and the family right now. And that's why I just wanted to point that out, because I just felt like somebody needed to say it right now, because that's one of the things in this time today, because that's one of the things that we're holding by.
Very good, because the brotherhood does not have to be biological. It's about who's around you, who makes you feel like a family, who loves on you, who supports you. So yes, thank you, David, for those words. Anyone else like to pose a question or have a comment to the team?
Hi, this is Judy Lippman. May I speak, please?
Yes, you may.
Okay. It has been so inspiring to hear everything I've heard today. Thank you. I'm just so proud that this school and these young men and the staff exist here in Louisville as a role model for all those who attend, for the experience, and for everyone else. But something too that I just wanted to ask of was, you talk about opportunities that young men can see for themselves for the future. And in the sense that you are so powerfully strong on developing leadership qualities. And you talked about the focus on multiculturalism, and then on service and giving, and how that empowers us to be able to do that. And one possibility is information about the Peace Corps. I don't know if that would be something that you would welcome, having more information at your school about for your young men, but as something to think about in the future. There's service certainly here in America, and there's service here in our city and our country and internationally. But the Peace Corps is a very broadening option as well. So I don't know if that interests you. For me to pursue that with you, I was in the Peace Corps. I know our whole group in Kentucky of folks who were too. We've got a state group, and we're eager to share experiences and tell stories, and it's life-changing.
Thank you, Ms. Lipman. And Mr. Gunn and the leadership team, one of the things that we're working on in the Nystrand Center is virtual reality, which is the wave of the future in terms of how to engage students and also help the staff to engage students. And so at the Nystrand Center, we have a young lady who's a GA, graduate assistant, who's been doing this work for 2 years. And again, it's an opportunity because it's kind of dormant right now. A few people know about it, but at the Nystrand Center, we've had several workshops, and we have one coming up regarding virtual reality. So we like to pose that to you all, to your staff, to be able to see how we can continue to engage individuals using technology, because it is going to be the wave of the future. And we're looking at how can we have Kentucky be on the forefront as opposed to bringing up the rear and not being 48th, 49th, or 50th, but being on the forefront of this technology. And there's MIT and Stanford and University of Central Florida. And so what an amazing treat to be able to have Kentucky on the forefront, of that innovation. So I know, I'm not sure what innovation is happening, all the innovation is happening at DuBois Academy, but want to mention that to you all regarding virtual reality. Are you all familiar with virtual reality?
We are familiar with virtual reality, and hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll have a very exciting announcement about a partnership specifically for virtual reality and some innovation in terms of a space that will be developed at the DuBois Academy. But it goes without being said, Dr. Stark, we would definitely welcome any kind of partnership that we have. And if you can send us some information on that, that's certainly something that we would want to look into. And since we have this platform, also, one of the things that we've seen is several local universities, even one as far as, FAMU down in Florida has reached out. So this is a time just to put it on your radar, Dr. Stark, as we have these young men who we are raising up to be leaders and kings, with them being homegrown. And here in the University of Louisville, we have a lot of colleges and universities reaching out, wanting our students who aspire to go to college to attend their institutions. So hopefully we can talk soon about ways that we can potentially keep some of our young men who want to stay home here and to be able to attend the University of Louisville, at an awesome rate.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see if there are any other comments. Okay. Any parting words? We are at 4:23, and again, any other parting words from any of the guests that's here that want to have any questions for the panelists?
Bernard Cahoon.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Verna Cahoon, and I would like to ask the staff, what do you think, what do you foresee as far as the growth of the school? Is your extension is through the high school? Now that you have added, now that you have 3 grades of middle school?
Mr. Gunn, you're muted.
Sorry, I guess sorry about that. Just saying, yes, ma'am, Ms. Cahoon, we're going to go through 12th grade, building out a class at a time. So this year's 8th graders will be our first high school class. They'll be 9th graders, and we'll follow them until 12th grade and kind of backfill at the middle school level. So in 4 years' time, we will be a full 6th through 12th grade academy.
Okay. Any other parting words from the team? I'm going to ask everyone as we get ready to wrap up. Anything that you would like to leave the audience with? And I'm going to start with Jaden and David, and then go around to the staff as we close out this afternoon. Jaden?
Mr. Gunn, we actually left something off. We used to do our creed in the morning, before every day. So like, I guess we can do it now. Supposed to do it like before, but like we can do it now. And it's basically what we say every day to like get everyone going and stuff like that. So here it is. I was born to achieve greatness. I will not be defined by my mistakes, but my willingness to accept correction, to learn and grow. My greatness will be a result of my work ethic, mentorship, and support. I will achieve all of my goals. I will be accountable for my actions and responsible to positively impact my community. I was born to achieve greatness, and I will determine the king I will become.
Thank you very much, Jaden and Mr. Gunn. Shame on you for not starting off with the creed.
Hey, Dr. Stark, you probably will not believe this, and Jaden probably won't either, but literally, he was going to lead the creed at the end of this meeting.
Okay.
I'm just waiting on it to come around.
Okay, okay, very good. David?
Well, also in the morning after we do the creed, we do our lion literals. Also, we also have some chance to say the lion literals right after the creed. I mean, we can't leave that out. That's essential. So a lion literals is listening. Oh, whoa, listening. I forgot the L. I'm sorry.
Well, you got to start off. I think you threw yourself off when you started. L,
listen and follow all directions. E, engage your learning. A, accept. D, do your best. E, eliminate excuses. And R, respect yourself and others.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garrett.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody for being here this afternoon. It's been wonderful to just hear everybody and then you all showing support. So I look forward to working with the University of Louisville in the future for our Lions, and I think it'd be a great partnership. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Peake.
Yes, ma'am. Continuing the sentiments of just being gracious. Thank you to the University of Louisville for having us, especially you, Dr. Stark. Thank you to both Jaden and David. I reached out to them and their parents to make sure, they wouldn't pass up this opportunity, and they both shine way above expectations. And I'm just happy to be a part of the DuBois Academy and happy that we get to share what we're doing inside of our 4 walls with the world.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks.
I just want to thank everyone for their time and just ask that you could just continue to pass just all the great things we're doing at the Academy. This is for the city of Louisville, and the more we can get the entire city behind us, the more we can do for these young men. So thank you for your time and just keep passing the word. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mr. Gunn.
Have nothing new, Dr. Stark, but again, to echo this sentiment, I feel incredibly blessed, empowered each day. The work that we do, the service that we provide is hard work. But I believe, as I said earlier, it's noble. To all of my brothers who are on the line, both those who are adults and those who are younger. Just appreciate and love you all dearly, and thank you for your service. And another shout out, I don't know if she's still here, but I know one of our parents, who's also in the University of Louisville family, Miss Rachel Quick, is the proud parent of one of our young men. So she's here. I just wanted to publicly tell her thank you and hello, because she and our parents are a huge part of our success at the DuBois Academy. But for everyone else, thank you so very much for your time, for engaging with us. And as Mr. Brooks shared, please just spread the word about what we do. Hopefully, when we're able to get back to school and this pandemic is under control, one of the things that we did every third Thursday of every single month, we had a community day where we invited folks into our school. Everyone was welcome. Young men like David and like Jaden would provide a tour and actually show people what we're doing at the DuBois Academy, because we can talk about it all day long, but until people see what we're doing and see that we're real, we're genuine, we're authentic, we are not perfect, but we strive for excellence, I think that we can even make a larger impact. So thank you all very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you all, and truly appreciate it, and look forward to continuing this conversation and how we can, as a community, collectively support the work that's being done in DuBois Academy, because again, we cannot work in isolation, and it takes a village to make this happen. So thank you all, and truly appreciate the opportunity to have you all here today. And for those who are, for what we do in the Nystrand Center, for those individuals who could not attend today, we do have the flyer, and we also have a video of this presentation. So for those who cannot attend or could not attend for whatever reason, or maybe need this for instructional purposes, for pre-service teachers, then this video will be available to them. So again, thank you all, truly appreciate it, and have a great evening.
Thank you all.